Okay, welcome everyone to another special live. I am Jerome Braggs, the intuitive healer who teaches you how to heal yourself and manifest a more well and delicious life through the practice of self-love. Today, I am joined by one of my favorite people, a person I've known now almost 15 years now. And she is a master healer, energy healer. I'm going to have her introduce herself in a while, here in a second, but I just want to share a little bit about how I know our guest today. I met her about 15 years ago. We were at the same spiritual center, and I had already studied energy healing from several different energy healers around. But when I met her and she started to teach energy healing, I learned a lot of new modalities and a lot of new approaches that really opened my gifts up, not just my energy healing gifts, but my intuitive gifts. And so I really just hold her in high regard and her healing gifts in high regard. And she's really my go-to energy healer. I know many around the planet now, actually. But when I need energy healing for my own self-care, my own self-healing, this is who I go to. Everybody always asks me that. So I wanted to bring to you all the person that I use, the person that I recommend. Her name is Joious Melodi, and she is, again, as I said, a master energy healer, and she's also the founder and the person who runs the Radiant Living Center in Oklahoma City, which is a center that offers holistic health services like energy work, energy healing, intuitive and psychic development, all of that juicy stuff. But I wanted to have her on today so we can talk about a topic that I get asked a lot. As a healer, a lot of people have asked me to help them with, and I have a very different perspective on it. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have this conversation with her, is because she's one of the few people that I know that shares this kind of same perspective that I have on this topic, and to help us understand a little bit more about and the topic is cord cutting. And what it is, what chords are, how they affect us. And the dominant kind of approach to it is to cut the chords. And that has not been what I have been in alignment with for years now. And so we're going to have a conversation about why that is, why we're not in alignment with that, and what we are in alignment with. There was no other perfect person that I wanted to have this conversation with than with Joious. So without further ado, I just want to introduce you to Joious Melodi. So Joious, could you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah. Who I am. Thank you so much, Jerome, for inviting me and for all those wonderful words. It's always nice to hear things about yourself. So I appreciate that. A little bit about myself. I'm actually a retired school teacher. I taught school for 29 years and then got into body work and energy work, went to massage school, and then healing touch and some other energy work. Cranial sacral is one of my favorites that I studied and was involved in. I still use cranial sacral in the work that I do, and it taught me a lot. And then from 2004 to 2008, I attended the Barbara Brennan School of Healing in Florida, which is changed my life. Barbara Brennan, I brought my books. I don't know if you can see that. She has 3 books, Hands of Light, Light Emerging, and her latest one is Core Light. Her school is in Florida, and you go for 4 years. You go 5 weeks out of the year for 4 years. So I attended that school, still lived here in Oklahoma, and would go every other month or so to attend the school. And that's where I learned about chords and the chakras and the energy system. When you think about a lot of energy schools, you take some weekend courses, and even with Healing Touch, which is a great program, and there's other Reiki and all different kinds of energy systems. In the 4-year program that I went to, you're not only learning about the energy field and ways to heal, but you're also learning ways to clear yourself. Because to be a good healer, you have to clear your own system. You can't hold the energy for the healing to happen if you've already got so many blocks in your system, wherever they might be. And so that's me. I've been single for 10 years, was married for 34 years. I have 4 grown children and 10 grandchildren, which involve the rest of my life when I'm not doing healing work here at Radiant Living Center and running the activities here that we provide. So
Yeah,
there you go. I guess it's enough.
yeah, I wanted, just to one more thing about you, because again, I've worked with many healers around, I've lived in different places in this country, and I've worked with different healers around the world, and I've not met many that had that used as many modalities and as many depths. Because when I first met you, as a matter of fact, you were doing Watsu. So yeah, you haven't done that in a long time, but that's when I first met you. You were doing that, and you were doing many different things, and your awareness of the energy field, and your personal sensing of the energy field was at a depth that, again, there's not many people that I have worked with that I have seen that. And we've worked together. Like, you've not just been a healer for me, but we worked side by side on the wellness and healing team. So I've seen you also as a practitioner, been in space with you with that.
Right.
And so I really wanted to, I know you understand some concepts. And one of the things that, one of the things as we're looking at, my tribe is very much about healing and wellness and well-being. And one of the things I talk about a lot and that I teach about in that process is what you just alluded to, is clearing yourself. And a part of clearing ourselves is letting go of what I say. I don't say letting go of what no longer serves you, because actually everything serves you.
Right.
But what no longer is nourishing for you, what no longer is literally helping you expand, right?
Yep.
Some things can serve because they're helping you realize you're not expanding. But I'm really about surrounding yourself with things that nourish you. And one of the things that we talk about a lot in this space, in this healing space around that concept, is letting go of relationships, letting go of things that, jobs and all of that. And when we're talking about energy, the chords, the concept of a chord comes up, right? It comes up a lot.
Right.
So
right.
From, I want to jump in with this and ask you, what are energy chords?
Okay.
From your perspective.
Jump right in there.
Yeah, let's just jump right in there.
Just jump right in there and talk about the chords. There's in Barbara's book, I went back and reviewed some before teaching that, before we decided to do this. There are different kinds of chords. Relationship chords. Chords are obviously a connection in a relationship. I may even show you a picture here of chords from one person to another so you can get an idea. It's basically, chords are about relationship. There can be different kinds of chords. You can have your chords that connect to the divine, or that are can be from different chakras. You can have chords from different chakras, from all of your chakras. But the main chords, when you're in relationship, personal people can be in different chakras, usually from the solar plexus or the heart, sometimes the sacral area if there's an intimate relationship going on. But chords are about relationship. That's kind of the key word. It's about relationship. You can have chords with animals, but basically it's a connection. It's an energetic connection to another person. Here's a picture right here. I'll just pull out of I don't know if you can see that. See the chords that are between the two people, and actually they have a cord from their head. But those are energetic chords. They're just like, one of the things that I Googled cord cutting, just because I was curious what the internet always says, just depending on what the book says. And of course, then it was talking about electrical cords. And then it was the parallel between, a cord that goes from your electrical cord when you cut it, there is a relationship there. And when you cut that cord, it's going to break that relationship. And I guess that's maybe what we want to talk about next as we talk about cutting cords and the difference between what I believe can heal the cords. A healthy cord, it can be golden, can be very vibrant and alive. When in relationships, when someone pulls away, the cords can die and can be brittle, and then they can even kind of hang around in your chakra and cause some difficulty, or they can, and that's if the person pulls away. And so they can be vibrant and gold if there's a strong connection there, or they can be, you know, just neutral, but cords can have a vitality and a vibration also, depending on the relationship, depending on what's going on in the relationship. You can send a cord out to pull someone's energy in, or there can be kind of a neutral relationship there. But the cords are about relationship.
Yeah.
I'm going to pause there and see if you have a question, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, I have. I just wanted to add some things well, not add some things, but kind of expand on it a bit.
Great.
Because it's beautiful. I think that's something to really understand. Is even at the base, to go back to a basic level, is we are all soul beings. We are made of energy.
Sure. Yes.
But something to understand, which is what will segue us into the next section here in a minute, but it's something to understand where we are all connected to each other anyway. We're all one anyway.
Correct.
And we cannot, there's nothing you can do to actually separate that oneness. You're still going to be connected, but what we do is we cord, and there are different ways different reasons why we cord and different ways we cord. But all the kind of the main reason that I see why we cord with each other when I'm looking at energy is there's an exchange. There's an exchange, whether that's exchange, because here's something a lot of people don't realize. I remember when I first began to see this, and then I learned about it, I was kind of shocked because I didn't realize this, is you also cord with somebody when you have resentment towards them.
You can, yes.
There's a cord there that you send and you connect. So it's not just when you're in, cord, like you said, cord is relationship. Like relationship, when you have to something, it's how you experience the energy exchange between you and that thing in this body, in this particular lifetime.
Right.
But you're always connected to that thing because that's part of you. You're part of it. But this cord is the relationship you're having with this thing.
Yes.
And so that was kind of my thing about, I guess my first, I wanted to have a clarity around cords, because I know a lot of people, they may have heard about what a cord is, or they've heard varying different definitions of them. But it's basically a relationship, and it's the energy connection you have in that relationship between you and something else.
Yes, and it can be a healthy relationship and be vibrant, or it can be one that's black and not necessarily a good relationship. A baby will even have a cord connected to its mom before it incarnates to that soul. And you then talking about heredity and connection with, so the father then can connect with all of that too. And so you have this triangle then that connects to the genetics and all of that. So as you're talking about, you know, how we're all connected, we have these connections not only with our physical heritage, but our spiritual heritage in that connection. So we are connected. And so those connections can be healthy, or they can be codependent, and there can be all kinds of issues that are causing, you know, the cords not to be healthy. Yeah.
So what is I ask a few questions before we get into the cord. So what does a healthy cord look like? Like, what is the definition of a healthy cord?
I can see a picture in my head. I'm trying to maybe describe what, as I said, the cord can be gold and vibrant, I would say. And then I think what I'm visualizing is a mutual give and take in the relationship. You know, a lot of times, as I said, especially for some people that don't know how to hold their own energy, they'll send cords out constantly trying to draw that energy in from that person. And so they're sucking other people's energy with that cord. And so that's going to be off balance if I'm out there trying to find who I am in somebody else and drawing that energy in. Then I don't have my whole beingness. And when I'm healthy and alive and full of vibrant energy, and I have cords that are connected to people that are healthy and you know, we're not perfect, obviously, and we always kind of have our stuff we're working on, but we're willing to work with that, even in relationship, even though it gets off balance, then we're willing to kind of work with that. You know, in a love relationship, you know, it kind of shows this heart with the people in the middle of each heart, and we're separate. We're two separate beings, but we're connected, and we're willing to kind of, you know, work with that and stay in relationship, you know, as long as that works. Does that make sense? Kind of rattle around there. I'm not real sure it made any sense.
Yeah, I think what I'm hearing from you, and what I'm remembering in my own kind of work and seeing people's cords and working with that, is that one, the cord is of energy and it vibrates. It has a vibration, is what you said in the beginning. They have vibrations, and when they're a high frequency vibration, a healthy vibration, it's light. It's of the light. We're light beings, so it reflects the light that because we're sharing our light back and forth from this cord. But if I have things, and like I love that you said this, because I think a lot of people think in terms of black and white when it comes with this, but sometimes you are the person, sometimes you're in a space in your life where you're pulling energy from someone else's cords. Like if you're going through a lot of shame or sadness, or if you have a lot of energy drains, you know, if you have a lot of energy drains, then and this is what I've seen particularly, and I had to own this for myself because I was living a drained life for a very long time. But when you have energy drains, what usually is going to happen is, what that means is you are drained of your light force. You're drained of your light force in some way, whether you're stressed or you're overgiving or you're overextending yourself or whatever it is, but you're drained of your life force in some way. Well, you cannot exist in a very low life force level. You're going to, because that's also food for you, for your soul. So you have to get it somehow, and you kind of pull it through these cords that you're in with these other people you're in relationship. You pull life force from them a bit, and so and it's not something you're doing. You're sitting here and saying, "I'm going to pull."
No, it's not coming from the head. No.
Yeah, it's not coming from the head at all, but it's happening. No. And so and this also can be and with cords, I think this is something that I want to bring about, because this is another thing about awareness. You could have an unhealthy cord with somebody you really love.
Yes.
Because I think we think that, you know, if I really love this person, that cord is going to be healthy. But when we understand that the cord, you can love somebody and not have a healthy relationship with them.
Correct.
And so the cord that you have with them is not going to be healthy. And so I love that you're saying, so when it's healthy, you see it's a high frequency and you see light. And when it's an unhealthy cord, it's darker.
It can be black and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't ever really see the colors of them. I kind of feel it. And what it feels like to me, because that's just not my gift, is not usually the sight, is the feeling of things. It feels like a sludge.
Mhm.
It feels
Mhm.
sluggish. It feels like there's
Mhm.
like a slow slurry going back and forth.
Right. 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 If you think of like a PVC pipe or a pipe, that it's kind of stuck in there and it's going to be dark and the energy, yeah, it's going to feel a yucky kind of feeling. Yeah, can be. And so, yeah, it makes me feel yucky as we talk about it. Actually.
Yeah.
So,
So it's
yeah.
so that's kind of the concept of what they are and what purpose they serve. Also, oh, one thing I want to ask you before. So we're talking about, yes, we court with everything. Yes, we have, but like what purpose, what benefit does, so we talked a little bit about the negativity that chords can have when somebody is draining us of our life force or when there's toxic, but what benefit do chords have to us? How do they benefit us?
Hmm, that's a good question. Um, and and it's kind of like, what benefit is our energy fields? It's a part of our whole energy system. It's a part of our chakras. It's a part, and so this is one way that we're not just separate beings. As you said, we're connected to everyone and everything, and the chords do that. So it's not like we're separate, and it's a way of connecting. Um, if the chords weren't there, I would be all by myself and never be able to be really in relationship with someone else. Oh, that feels sad. Because that is a way that I can give and receive, from that other person, from that being, from that energy soul. Um, so yeah, it's important. It's important. It's an important part of our system. Um, yeah. I mean, I can't remember everything that's in the book. I was reading through, if the cord is messed up in one chakra and what illnesses it can bring, and what how you can heal it and what's going on there. It's just like the chakras and the whole energy system. It's a part of the system. If it wasn't there, we wouldn't be able to really connect with others.
I
That's the way.
love, yeah, no, I love what you said here is so, this is the part that just leaped out for me. That is the
Mhm.
juicy bit. Is
Okay.
if we don't have chords, chords are your ability to receive and to give.
Mhm.
They're literally your ability to receive and to give from all
Mhm.
of life.
Right.
From every person that is life, from the animals, from every aspect of life.
Mhm.
Chords are the avenue, they're the vessel in which you give and you receive.
Mhm.
And the healthier the chord is, the more
Mhm.
balanced your ability to give and receive is. I just had a
Right.
aha here.
Right.
The more healthy it is to give and receive it. But if it is
Mhm.
unhealthy in some way, it's either going to be unhealthy usually in you're giving too much,
Could be.
or you're taking too
Mhm.
much. And it's not a
Mhm.
balance there.
Mhm.
Um,
Right.
I've never seen it that way before. I'd never really seen it that way
Oh,
before.
I'd never been asked that question before either. And I was like, oh, that's, yeah,
Yeah,
good question. Good
so that's
question.
so this is and again, I think this is really important too, Joyce, because this is why we want chords. You want
Right.
chords. You
Right.
don't
You can't
want
just
to be
shut them
chordless.
all down, or you're
Yeah.
just going to be, yeah, like this. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be
And
blocked
as
off.
yeah, I'm sorry, as I'm visualizing it, it's like, you have the vertical power current that all the chakras connect into, and that connects to the earth, and then it connects to the sky on the Hara line. And so the chords are actually going in and out from the fourth level of the field, but it's like it's all a part of the whole system, I guess, is what I'm visualizing in my head now as you're connecting. it's also bringing energy and that connection with your whole life force being, because it's connecting into your chakras, which connect into your vertical power current, which connects in above and below, and just that whole connection. And my head's itching, so that's always my truth when my head itches. Yeah, that's a great visual for me. I'm not really sure you understood it, but
Yeah.
cool.
I think, again,
It's important.
the part that in the simplest of terms, the way it lands the simplest in my body with that, what you said is
Right.
it's part of your anatomy. It's part of your energetic anatomy.
Exactly. That's it.
And
Got
so
it.
you cannot, so again, when we talk about the dominant way it's taught, at least the dominant way I've been hearing from other people around the world when it comes to chords, is that when that chord is toxic, and what my definition of toxic is when it's not nourishing anymore. What that means, whether you're giving too much, you're not balanced with that, or you're taking too much, like whatever that is, that's toxic that's either draining your life force or you're draining somebody else's life force. So when it is a toxic chord, because it is a part of your anatomy, you don't just want to, because you are literally cutting a piece of you.
Right.
And so this isn't something that so this is why I was always, when I would hear about it, I always knew that I initially saw it from this perspective, and that I grew into understanding that was a part of the anatomy. But I initially saw it as that person is another aspect of you, because we are connected. And so if you're cutting this, you are literally cutting you, and and when you cut something, it leaves jagged edges.
Yeah, just like a cord. Yeah,
just like a cord,
like an electrical cord. Yeah, it's going to be rough on the ends. Yeah.
And so I didn't want that. And so I would never teach people how to cut them. And I know I'm not saying a lot of people have they've received help from these processes before. So at no way am I saying you all need to abandon this process altogether. You don't need to do anything. I am for whatever has helped you and is really helping you experience well-being. You do that. But I was never in alignment for myself, because I always felt like this isn't the most loving way for me to approach this. And I want to approach things with the most love and the most light in my healing journey. So from your perspective, I know we talked about this, and you were like, because when I first asked Joyce to come on and speak about this, I said, can you come on and talk about cord cutting? And she was like, actually, that's not quite how I do it. So could you talk a little bit about your perspective of the concept of cord cutting?
Yes. And as you were talking, it reminded me that sometimes in a relationship, when there is a split between people, like a divorce or a trauma or something, and someone leaves automatically, it can rip the cords, and they can be dangling out there from just a torn relationship. And you hear that, my heart was torn apart, those kinds of things. And so it can already be dangling out there. But to intentionally cut a cord, like you said, is like cutting a part of yourself, and then the cord, yes, is kind of out there dangling, and so it doesn't have any place to go. And so some of the ways that we do it, even if I see a dangling cord from someone that's been in a relationship, and as Jerome said, that doesn't mean that everybody that teaches cord cutting is necessarily wrong. That's their way of doing it. And if with a dangling cord, sometimes it will automatically resort itself inside your, core system, inside your chakra. And so it's not necessarily bad, but it could just be dangling out there, and that's not going to help you at all. And sometimes when you have the cord that's cut, and then you can reinsert it into that person. It gives them their own power and their own strengths to be able to bring that energy that they were putting out maybe back into themselves. So just to kind of say that a little bit about the cords that are dangling, it's not the end of the world. It's not like your arm's cut off, but it is an energy system that's just kind of dangling out there and needs to be reinserted or needs to have a new direction. Basically, what I learned to do in the Barbara Brennan School was to, there's a couple of different ways that I would recommend. And actually, I'll talk about Barbara's and then I'll talk about one that I kind of use different. That's not what she teaches, basically. In the Barbara Brennan School, we learn to, like if I have a client on the table, is I would go into that chakra, and usually if the cord is not clear, is not nicely, it's not a good cord, it's not bringing in vibration and it's not working, there's usually debris, energetic debris and garbage around the chakra. So around the cord in the chakra. And so it's going to be important to kind of clear that out first, and to be able to clear any of that where it's connected into your energy system. And then what you can do is energetically bring in the person or being that cord is connected to. So you bring that energy person in, and you're actually working with that person to clear the debris and the gunk or whatever around that cord, so that when you then reconnect them, and basically the idea is then to connect both cords on a higher dimension. Like I said, the cords are connected on a fourth dimension. We want to move to a fifth or a sixth or a seventh dimension, then to connect them. So you're connecting on a spiritual divine level. And then it can become more vibrant, then it can become more alive, and then it can be higher vibration, light healed. And then you're connecting to both the person on the table and the energetic being that you have brought in, whether that's a parent or, a past relative. It can even be someone that's passed. It can be, a spouse, a child, or whatever, whoever that energy is connected to, you've brought that energy person in. And yes, you probably need to have permission, maybe on some level, to be able to do that kind of work. But what it does, and there's many different reports, and I've had some of my own, of people who can say relationships shifted with that person, even if it was a person maybe where it was draining, where a lot of times, it's a parent relationship, where maybe the parent was overbearing, or whatever. And so the relationship was not in a good place. And when you can heal that cord on a divine, vibrational, energetic, universal, whatever you want to call it, level, a higher vibrational level, you are then giving them a new connection, a new vibrational connection that they've not ever had before. And that is, it's very rewarding, it's very healing, and it can be very powerful in a relationship.
Yeah, I want to add, it's not kind of an ad, but kind of this piece, because I remember when I used to do a lot of cord work. I don't do as much hands-on energy healing work anymore.
Sure.
But when I did, there was this practice that came to me, and it was channeled to me.
Okay.
And it was more so when the person came wanting the cord to be cut because there was abuse in the
Right.
relationship, right? And so
Yeah.
what I was, and I would do this, and this was, I would help them walk through them. Again, this isn't, so it wasn't, because it required some personal work from them. It wasn't just me doing everything. It required them to do some personal work. And it was about, what I was shown was in these severe cases where this relationship, because what you were wanting, the first part of it was to come into the conscious understanding and to be sure this is what you wanted, that this relationship is complete. that you're learning
Right.
from this relationship in this style, that
Right.
this relationship is offering you this learning, you are
Right.
complete with this.
Yes.
And so you would have to come with this. It's not like you cannot come from it from a space of get this damn thing, get this damn person, damn thing away from me. Not that, but like I am complete with the
Yes.
learning that
Yeah.
this form of this relationship with this person came here to give me, right?
Yeah.
And so I am
Yeah.
complete with this. And so
Yes.
you completed, it was this coming of completing the chord. So it
Right.
was, again, I would see the toxicity in the chord. I would say, okay, we have to clear this chord, we have to clear the energy. And then it was almost like it wasn't a cutting. And this is the only time I did this. And the other times I did not do this style of it at all, but it was the only time I did it when it was abuse. It was like seeing the chord as a plug. And then you would politely unplug, but
Yeah.
you would do a healing of
Oh,
where the plug was, and then you
yes.
would do a healing of where your end of your plug was, and across the entire cord. And you
Yes.
would have this the whole time the person is doing this thing of sending light back and forth through the cord, and this
Right.
complete thank you for
Yes.
the lessons that you gave me across this cord. I am
Yes.
complete with this. And then you would disconnect and
Yes.
you would come back. You would send your energy back to you, bring your energy back to you.
Mhm.
You would offer it back to them. But
Right.
it was not it was not a cut this. It was
Right.
just it was like a release, because you are telling yourself, and you had to be sure. Again, it was
Mhm.
what you were saying,
Mhm. Mhm.
because I want you to be
Mhm.
sure, even though, yes, this is painful, even though, yes, this is abusive, even though, yes, you do not deserve pain and hurt in this way, you have to be very consciously, higher self sure that
Yes.
you are ready to complete this lesson,
Yes.
because you cannot core. Because this is the thing, if you're not,
Right.
this is another thing I used to see. If we disconnect this cord here and you're
Uh-huh.
not ready, it's about to jump out and chord with somebody else in the exact same thing.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Yes. That is the other way that like I said, the other technique that I've used and that I learned that is very powerful, um, is what I call just unhooking. And that can be with any relationship, especially a relationship that's ended, in for whatever reason. And that's what I call they you're working with the person talking when they're energetically unhooking anything. And what I call, it's like, I'm going to unhook and give back to you anything that I took from you that I no longer need. And then you just continue to do that until you feel like it's complete. And then the energy and the healing then can happen in the chakra. So you're in, and then you actually do it in the reverse. When that feels complete, you can go to the person that you have the relationship with, and I'm taking back what I gave to you, like my power or whatever, that is mine, that I gave to you, that is really mine. And
Mm.
so I'm taking back then. And so it's a two-way relationship. And it's kind of done in a meditative state on the table or in a situation where you're giving the person back what they gave to you that you no longer need. And then you're taking back, and it's almost like unhooking the cords that or the energy there, that, and so it's not a cutting, but it's a releasing what I gave to you that is really giving back to you what you gave to me, that that's really mine. And then you're taking back. So I think I got the words a little confused there, but you get the idea of you're unhooking cords, and it's a way of healing it also, in a way like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you just brought to mind this almost the testimonial here at the moment, but you brought to mind this. I remember working with you this one time, and I had come because I was having an earache. And
Yeah.
this was several years ago. I was having an earache,
Yeah.
and I specifically remember you saying, because this particular healing session stands out in my head because I had such a dramatic response to it. But I specifically remember you saying, you looking at my ear and you said, "There's a hook in here,"
Mhm.
and I
I don't
said, "What is that?" And you said, "Yeah, there's a hook in here," and you said, "You have a hook." A cord and a hook in here. What have you been?" And what had been happening at that time was I'd been watching something, and I've really been listening to something that had scared the shit out of me. And I kept listening to it, and
remember.
it was not letting. It was I couldn't let it go. I was just in
Right.
it, and we did this releasing of this hook, and
Uh,
I had a severe earache at this time, and I could not figure it out. It was not getting better with anything. And literally, right after the energy healing session, the pain was gone. It was
it was
done.
gone.
It was
Wow.
gone. And it was severe, like to the point where I was getting ready to see, do I need surgery on my ears or something that needs to happen? Because
Mhm.
I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep on my side. It was severe. And
Hmm.
I remember this was several years ago. And you were like,
Huh.
I remember as soon as you got to work on there, you were like, "There's a hook in here." And I was like, "Oh, I know exactly." You said, "What's been going on?" I was like, "I know exactly what this is."
Nice.
And then when we did that process, immediately after that, it was gone. I've never had problems with it again.
Cool. Yeah. It's very powerful, and it you know like it's that relationship thing again, and making the relationship healthy. Or a lot of times it's releasing from either, whether it's an abusive relationship or whether it's just a relationship that's ended, that's no longer serving both of you, and it can help let go of, because as I said, a lot of times if the relationship is ended, like in a battle or a fight or conflict or whatever, then those cords are going to be dangling there.
Mhm.
And so it's important to clear that so that you can move on and learn, like you said, what you needed to learn from that relationship. And sometimes bringing back the power that I gave to that person is very important in the healing process. Yeah, cool.
So, what is a process? I know you have many tools and many juicy things, but I know you spoke about kind of wanting to share a little bit of a healing with everyone around chords. Is that
Um,
your energy still in alignment with?
well, basically, I kind of just told you what we could do by the hooking or the unhooking. I've never done it with a large group before, or with a group, or on video, or on chat, whatever they call this. But we could see what feels right. I'm willing to kind of take us through kind of like a meditative state, and see, we've got about 10 minutes left maybe.
Yeah.
Um, and just allow each person to kind of do what feels right for them.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to close my eyes just so I can get centered and grounded, and I'm going to invite all of you, Jerome, and everyone that is listening, to do the same. And I'm going to invite you to surround yourself in a bubble of light. Just protect yourself, above and below, and to the right and to the left and in front and to the back. And just surround yourself in a bubble of light so that you are connected in this meditative kind of place. And as everyone does that, and we're connected in a larger bubble of light by all of our guides and beings and the energy system that surrounds all of us, so that we are protected in our energy fields. And then as you do that, normally what I do then is, as we're looking at chords, and a chord may be a relationship, that you would like to have some healing on, what I invite you to do is bring that person's energy in, but not too close. And what you do is you move them then as far away from you, that energy system that you're in relationship with, because that cord can be really long. Move them away as far as possible. Could be in the next neighborhood, can be in the next state, can be in the next moon, can be in the next universe. Practice moving that person away as far as you need to. And then you're going to surround them in a protection, like a bubble, or you can have them wrapped in saran wrap, or you can have them in a cage. You don't want them to be too close to you energetically. So I'm going to give you a few seconds here, not a minute, but a little bit, about 30 seconds to kind of bring that person in. And this also can teach you aware of how, when you bring that person into your energy field too close, how uncomfortable it can be. Because those cords can be draining, can be pulling, can be overpowering. And sometimes just energetically in your meditation, when you move that person or that being or whatever it is out away from you, notice in your own system what happens. Notice in your own body. We use your body as the monitor. Notice as you move that being as far away as feels comfortable, and you can kind of play with it. Move them closer. Oh, that doesn't feel good. Move them back further. Like I said, move them to another universe, whatever you feel like needs to feel comfortable. And then energetically send guards around them, wrap them, protect them. So you're not going to bring them in any closer than what feels comfortable for you. So you're checking in with their energy field and how far out they feel comfortable. Checking in again with your own energy system and your bubble and your field so that you feel comfortable. And then as you do that, maybe check in with your heart chakra area or your solar plexus. Probably one of those places is where you're feeling more of a connection. And then just with intention, making sure your energy field feels correct. And if anything feels uncomfortable at any time, just say, I'm closing this whole practice, this whole system, and then just hold your energy field. If anything feels uncomfortable at any time, just back away, send that person beyond, and hold your energy field. Okay? This is not meant to be disturbing at all. It should be peaceful and it should be healing. And so, wherever you might feel a hook in your own energy system, in your own chakra, you're just going to unhook it and you're going to energetically send it back to that person, saying, I give back to you what you gave to me that no longer serves me, that I no longer need. Blessing both of you as you do that. I give back to you what I no longer need that you gave to me. And just kind of feel how that feels. I'm going to do some toning because that comes as our healing sometimes. Sometimes it takes a while, a little bit for that to feel complete. Let's see if it can come to some kind of completion there. And if you need to do this again on your own in a meditative position or with someone else to help hold the space. And now when you're ready, if you're not, then just continue to hold your own space for what just happened. What you're going to do is reach out and take back from that person what you gave to them that is really yours. A lot of times that involves power, giving your power away, giving your essence away, giving who you really are away. So you're reaching out and taking back from that person, that being, that energy that you gave to them that is really yours. Taking back your power and your essence, bringing that back to you so you can feel embodied with your own spirit, your own aliveness, your own beingness. Taking back what you gave to them, knowingly or unknowingly, that is yours, that you gave away, a part of your being, a part of your essence, bringing it back to you. And as that all begins to feel complete, like I said, we've done this in 10 minutes, and usually I take 20 or 30 or an hour. Just be with what happened here and the healing that happens. And when you're ready, you can just release that person that you brought in their energy and send them on that way. And there's probably still a cord connected, or maybe not. Just depends on whatever needed to happen between the two of you. But know that the relationship and the connection is on a much brighter, healed vibration. And when you're ready, slowly bring your energy back to the video. You can open your eyes and presence yourself here. And know that when this is over, you may want to take some time and just lay down and rest and let the body integrate and heal whatever happened. Yeah. And if you need to, you feel free to contact me or Jerome if you have questions. We didn't get to any questions, did we?
We'll have to have you back again for questions at some point. How do they reach you for those people out there who aren't familiar with you and want to contact you?
Okay. Radiantlivingok@gmail.com. is one email address, or my phone number is 405-740-6813. You can text or call and just say you were in on this visit and need some more information, or just want to talk or want to schedule a session. 405-740-6813.
As always,
Leave a message, because my phone doesn't always, if it doesn't recognize your name, it won't answer. So just leave a message and then I'll return the call.
as always, thank you so much, Joyous. This is
You're welcome.
delicious, and I know it has opened some people's eyes to the concept of chords and how to heal them in a healthier and more loving way.
Mhm. And know that the main healing is healing yourself. When I heal myself, sometimes those chords are going to heal automatically. And it's all about my relationship with myself, and then everything moves out from there. You're the most important person. So work on healing yourself. I love each of you. Thanks for inviting me, Jerome. This is fun.
Thank you all. Bye until next time. As always, I love you. Now go love yourselves. Bye.